faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never failed me yet. The night won't last. Your word will come to pass. My heart will sing your praise again. Jesus, you're still enough. Keep me within your love. My heart will sing your praise again. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail me yet. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. I'm still in your hands. This is my confidence. You never fail. Your promise still stands. Great is your faithfulness, faithfulness. Oh, how I need your grace, more than my words can say. Jesus, I come, Jesus, I come, in all my weaknesses. You are my confidence. Jesus, I come, Jesus, I come. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. Oh, what amazing love. We need your cleansing flood. Jesus, I come, Jesus, I come. In every broken place, you are my righteousness. Jesus, I come, Jesus, I come. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. Thank you, Jesus, just as I am, I come. Hallelujah, oh, what amazing love. Thank you, Jesus, just as I am, I come. Hallelujah, oh, what amazing love. Thank you, Jesus, just as I am, I come. Hallelujah, oh, what amazing love. Thank you, Jesus, just as I am, I come. Hallelujah, oh, what amazing love. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. I will rise, stand redeemed, heaven open over me. To your name, eternally, endless glory I will bring. Thank you, Jesus, just as I am, I come. Hallelujah.
In her book, On the Bright Side, Melanie Shankle tells a story. This is basically how what I refer to as Hermit Crabageddon 2017 began. I'd written what I thought was a funny little story about how my daughter, Caroline's hermit crabs, ended up being accidentally set free in her backyard, never to be seen again. I speculated that maybe they packed their teeny tiny crab bags and set out for brighter shores and happier days after long being relegated to a plastic aquarium in our playroom. This excerpt from the book ended up being published online by a major media outlet, and I quickly found myself the most hated person in the world of hermit crab aficionados. Did you know that there are over 75 Facebook groups committed to rehoming unwanted hermit crabs? Neither did I until that fateful day. Now he's being completely vilified over what I meant to be a lighthearted story full of a lot of exaggeration. People wanted to beat me up in a dark alley. Strangers who'd never met me felt free to assume that if I'd lose a hermit crab, then I was a terrible parent who didn't care about my child. It was crazy, and honestly, it freaked me out. The world is straight up crazy right now. We have collectively lost any chill we ever had. We are addicted to the thrill of anger and outrage and have gone to the dark side. Perhaps you've noticed we have forgotten what it means to give a fellow human the benefit of the doubt. See, we have forgotten how to love first. Our default now is anger. We don't automatically look for the good in people, we look for a reason to get mad at them. So this series, we're going to be talking about the book of 1 Corinthians. It's kind of famous, known as the love chapter. It's used at weddings. There's a good definition of love in there. My advice to you is throughout this series, which is 6 weeks, maybe you can read 1 Corinthians 13 once a week, once a day, whatever it is, but you know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to do the last verse today, and then we're going to move on to the first couple verses, and then throughout the 6 weeks there, we're going to cover verses 1 through 13, a couple of them a week. So I am going to take up the challenge to memorize the whole chapter. Now, everybody might not want to do that. Maybe you want to memorize some of your favorite parts, but that's what I'm going to set out to do, and I got a paper set out in the front of the foyer that if you want to memorize it, I have them on a piece of paper, and they'll make it a little easier for you. The first week is the last verse that we're going to start with. It's 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13. And if you should know this one. And these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Now, maybe you can memorize that by the time we're done here today. And these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Now, what do we get from this verse? And I looked at a lot of different things. 3 quick things today. Just quick things. 1, have faith. We have faith, hope, and love. So number 1, have faith. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Have you ever heard the phrase blind faith and that we Christians have blind faith? Let me give you an example of that. Here's blind faith. Let's say my brother's sick and about to die. I believe that God will heal my brother. I believe that God will heal my brother. It's kind of blind faith, right? Because I don't know what's going to happen. Here's an example of good faith. I can believe that God can heal my brother, or I believe that God can heal my brother. That's what you call good faith, because I do. I believe that God is able to heal my brother if he chooses to do that. And to go even further, I can say, even if he does not, I will still trust him because he alone is worthy. That's good faith. I believe that God can heal my brother. And even if he does not, I will still trust him because he alone is worthy. You don't have faith that God will do everything you want or even everything that you think is best. You have faith that God is who he says he is and that he will do everything he says. Do you get that? Have faith that God is who he says he is and that he will do everything he says. Everything God says in his word that's going to come to pass is going to come to pass. A lot of the things already came true that he said. He hasn't said anything that has not come true. I have faith that God, my God, will do everything that he says he will. So number one, have faith. Number two, give hope. This is what we can do. Give hope. I have hope because I believe in the right person, God and his son, Jesus Christ. I need to give that hope to others. Give hope. It does not help if I give the wrong hope. What is the wrong hope? Well, like a lot of people, when I grew up, when I turned 16, I got a job so that I could get my driver's license, get a car, get car insurance, buy some nice things. And so along with that job and paying my car insurance and everything came a bank account. And I knew how the bank account worked. I put money in, I could write checks from that account, but only if I put money in there. And when I wanted to take some out, I took it out. Well, then what happened is I left for college. For the first time in my life since I turned 16 when I left for college, I didn't have a job. See, I was a music major, and believe it or not, I spent about 4 hours a day practicing my instrument, which took up a lot of time. And so when I was a freshman, I didn't have a job. I did later on because I figured out I needed one. Now see, here's the funny thing. Even though I knew how a bank account worked, and I knew that you had to put money in, you have a job to get money to put in, I was a college student, and I wanted to buy things, and I wanted to buy food and snacks, and I wanted to go out to eat. And we didn't have a lot of money at the time. But this funny thing would happen like once a week. I would go to the one ATM on campus, and they had just come out with ATM cards because this was back a while ago. I would go and I would put my card in, and I would put check balance to see how much money I had in there. And of course, it came up with zero every time. Now, I don't know why I kept doing this. I know how it works, but I would go in and I would just kind of hope that miraculously somebody would have put money in there that I could take out of the ATM and that I could spend money. That's not how hope works. That's hope in a bad thing because it wasn't going to happen. Hope in Christ is more than that. Hope is more than believe in God and money will be put into your bank account. Hope is more than believe strong enough and your brother will be healed. It doesn't work that way. You see, I have hope because I believe that our prayers are answered precisely the way we would want them to be answered if we knew everything that God knows. Did you hear that? If we were to put in the position of God, where we could see everything, we could see all the outcomes, we could see all the context, all the good and bad, then we would answer that prayer the same way. See, I have hope because I believe in a God that works that way. And I believe my prayers are answered in the way that he sees they should best be answered. Not everything that I want, not even everything that I feel like I need or that's best for the overall picture, but that God sees the big picture and answers the same way we would if we were put in his position. We need to give that hope to others. We need to share that with other people. And lastly, show love. We talk about faith, hope, and love. If you want to learn anything about love, you can read that whole chapter that we were talking about, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. There's a lot of little definitions in there. We're going to go over them in the next 5 weeks after today. See, love is the supreme virtue. Do you hear that? It said, these three remain, faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Love is the supreme virtue. This is why. This does not imply that the Corinthians or any Christians or anybody at that time thought that you could get rid of faith and hope and just go with love because it was most important. See, as we know, true love is both hopeful and faithful. Those are characteristics of love. Here is why love is the supreme gift. This is a gift that each member can share. Anybody can share love. It's not denied to anyone. See, different people have different gifts, but everybody can love. See, our spiritual gifts, different gifts, are given to different people. Will in turn make their contribution to the spiritual welfare of all. Say I'm a good teacher. Say I'm a good speaker. Say I'm a person that has a lot of faith. Say I can speak eloquently. Say that I have the gift of service and I love serving other people. These are all gifts that will contribute to the welfare of all, but we don't all have every gift. It doesn't work that way. But love is a contribution that everyone can make. Even the weakest, the smallest, the most humble, the most ordinary person, everyone can give love. Now, does the love of one little person matter? Me or my daughter? Or any single one person? See, it does. If we all do our part and our love is given to others, and then the web of all the relationships that we and others are a part of gets filled by us and others, then we contribute to making this world and this life a better place. You see, to do so is like dropping a pebble into a still pool. No section of that pool is undisturbed by the ensuing movement. One little ripple caused by one little thing, and the whole pool is affected. When we use all our gifts, and everybody has their different gifts, and when we just love one person the way they should be loved, and everyone else loves one person as they should be loved, everyone is affected as we all live in the same world. You see, and the future belongs to love, because it speaks a language that everyone can understand and that everyone can speak if he wants to. A loving, kindly glance, or a word, or a shake of the hand, or a simple deed is recognized in every country, in every place in this world. Showing love and being kind is recognized everywhere. We have even seen how it blesses the giver as those who receive it. If we give love, we are blessed. If we receive love, we are blessed. A life which begins in faith expresses itself through love and is sustained by the hope of salvation. Did you see that? Did you see how we need all three? A life which begins in faith expresses itself through love and is sustained by the hope of salvation. The Apostle Paul, which wrote the book of 1 Corinthians and 2 Corinthians and a bunch of other books, do you know why he ended up in Corinth? Do you know why he ended up in Greece at all? They call it the West. They call it Paul's missionary journeys to the West. He was the first missionary to go to Greece. Well, you know why he went? Because he was having arguments and struggles with his fellow contemporaries who were also preaching the gospel of Christ. See, what was happening is Paul wanted the Gentiles to be welcome in church. And the Gentiles were anyone who weren't Jewish. There was the Jewish people and there were the Gentiles. See, he wanted the Gentiles to be welcome. And the other Jewish people and the other people that were preaching the gospel were saying, no, they can't because they're not Jewish and they can't do these things. See, so Paul said, well, if you're not going to let me do that here, if this is a big issue, I'm going to go somewhere else where I can make up my own rules. See, Paul wanted everyone to be welcome in the church of God. He wanted everyone to be welcome, and it wasn't happening. So he went west where he could preach the gospel to everyone. See, we can overlook differences of opinion on many things, like doctrine and methods or practices, even denominations, etc. But we all must be welcome in the church of God. We all must be welcome in the church of God. And I know you think there's some sins that aren't welcome. And I'm not saying that every belief has to be welcomed in church, but every person has to be welcome. And if you think that there's anybody engaging in any lifestyle or has a particular sin that they struggle with is not welcome here, then let me tell you, I don't want to be here. I want everybody to be welcome in our church. God's church loves everyone. They love everyone the same. We don't have to love everything that happens, everything that is done, but we love everyone the same. Now, even Paul back then, who went west because he couldn't preach the way he wanted to, and he couldn't preach everyone. He followed the same formula every time he went to a new town. He went in the synagogue, which by and large had Jewish people, and he told the Jews about the Messiah that they were waiting for. And they told him that the Messiah that they were waiting for was Jesus. See, he began there. Even though the Jews rejected him, even though they didn't like what he was preaching, he still began with them first. See, we often dismiss the people who mock and openly reject us or our message. We often do it. We're like, they're a lost cause. They're making fun of me. Why would I even talk to them? Why would I love them? But everyone has a place in God's church. Even Paul, who picked up his Bible. He didn't have a Bible yet. Even Paul, who picked up the scriptures and everything he had, everything he owned, and went west to get away with the people who were against him, started with the same people that were living in that town. In this other book that I read, Losing My Voice to Find It by Mark Stewart, he sums it up this way. This is how we'll end today. I've seen this world at its worst, and in spite of that, I've seen people at their best. This is the greatest joy I've ever known. See, you can complain about the world today, kids today, music today, people today. You can complain about all the bad things that are happening, but then we still see wonderful acts of love by God's people towards other people, and it makes everything worth it in spite of everything that's happened, how people treat people. Showing God's love is the greatest joy we've ever known. Thank you. Have a great week.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it.